G'day everyone, my name is Simmo and welcome to my Gen X journey. My name is Simmo, obviously, as I said before, I'm 57 years old, I'm Gen X, and I'm bringing it to you live, unfiltered, raw and uncut, straight from the dome. Every episode is going to be like this because I want to present to you the authentic and real version of myself. Now, what am I going to do on this channel? I'm going to talk about my life, I'm going to talk about my mistakes, my wins, my losses, things I've learned the hard way. I've learned a lot of things the hard way. And also about my path to retirement. I'm 57 years old, as I said before, again, and I can retire at 60. So that's going to be 2030, I believe, and the world is a mess. It's an uncertain place. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of suspicion and there's a lot of weirdness. There's so much stuff going on. And being Gen X, I feel blessed because I've got to experience a lot of different things in my life. I grew up in the 70s with all the weirdness that took place around that time, and I think it might have attributed to and contributed to who I am today, because I'm a bit of a weird guy. I've always felt a bit different. I've been more of a thinker than a talker, and doing this YouTube is great because it's bringing me out of my shell, and I think I can bring some value to your life through my experiences, and maybe I can give you some laughs and at the very least some entertainment, or even if you're here to hang shit on me, that's fine too, no problem. Now, I grew up in the 70s, and the 70s was a pretty weird, wacky time. You know, you had the likes of David Bowie with his gender bending. You had what was the style with the in the beginnings, it was the leading up to the punk rockers, and towards the end it was the punk rockers, and there was a lot of change and sexual kind of like exploration and gender bending, and that sets the stage for who I am or who I become leading into the 80s. So I was a teenager in the 80s, and my first crush was Blondie in Heart of Glass, and to this day, my favorite musical artist is David Bowie. He's a weirdo, and I'm a weirdo. I used to be embarrassed about my weirdness, and I used to try and hide it and push it down. But now, I embrace it, and I love the weird me that I am. Being comfortable in your own skin is empowering, and this is something I hope to bring to anybody who's watching who is struggling with their identity. I want to let you know and show you that it's okay to be yourself. It's actually the best way to be is to be yourself, because not everyone's going to like you. That's a trap a lot of people fall into. Not everyone's going to like you. You might be the most amazing person in the world, but someone's not going to like you for no good reason. And I've got a theory on this, right? Have you ever met a person randomly, and for the first time you're like, I don't like you? Where is that coming from? Now, as a weirdo, I believe and wholeheartedly subscribe to the concept of reincarnation, and we have lived many different lives. And one of the reasons for this, why I'm so solid on that belief, is I've been through what some would call an awakening, and part of that journey was contemplating, who am I, what am I, and where am I going? You know, life after death. Do I still exist after you die? You know, do you carry on in some form or physicality? So I went searching for the answers, and the best I could come up with was like near-death experiences and Also, children who recall stories of previous lives. Like, for example, and there's plenty of them on YouTube. And that's nothing. YouTube is a beautiful gift because it connects us with each other, and it, presents all sorts of different people. And it's also, it's a wealth of knowledge, Anything you want to know how to do, you can usually find it on YouTube, both good and bad. So I went looking for stories of reincarnation, and there's tons of them on YouTube, and they all follow a similar kind of fucking pattern. Mum will be driving down the road with little Johnny in the back, and they'll drive past a spare allotment, and little Johnny will be in the back, and he'll say, "Oh, I used to live in there, Mummy, with my wife and 2 kids. And one night there was a fire and the house burned down and we all died. And can we get ice cream on the way home, please? What? Please?" And Mum goes, "What? What'd you say, Johnny? Oh, can we get some ice cream on the way home, please?" No, not that. The other bit. Yeah. Oh, I used to live there with my wife. Okay. So they go and get ice cream, whatever. Life moves on. Mum remembers it a week or two later. She goes to the council and she researches that spare block of land, and she gets the detail and the information, and she finds out that there was a man and a woman who had 2 children, and one night there was a fire and the house burnt down and all 4 lost their lives. Now, what possible motivation could a 3 or 4-year-old child have to concoct this elaborate lie? There's no good reason. And how could a kid have access to all those details to reinforce the story that the child's just made up? So I'm absolutely convinced that reincarnation is real and it's a thing. And I've lost my train of thought and not my point on that, whatever. Okay. I guess I just want to introduce myself and say hello and just get the first episode nerves out of the way. And I also want you to see me raw and uncut. I'm on my lunch break at work. I'm a mechanic. I'm in my dirty clothes, and I don't care how I look. All right, that's it. First episode done. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.